I've come for a walk in Abbeydale, Sheffield. I've been thinking about Philippians 2 verses 6 to 11. Paul is writing a letter, and Paul says in Philippians 2, 6 to 11, Jesus was equal with God. What does this mean? It means a lot of things, but for a start it means that Jesus has the same power, authority, same glory as God. In fact, Jesus was even sat there at the very start of creation when God spoke the universe into being. Jesus was sat at the right hand of God. Yet Paul says Jesus did not regard equality with God as something to be grasped. There are many people in the world who see authority as something to grab at, something to grasp, something to make themselves powerful. They try and climb career ladders, they try and get to the top of the corporate world, they try and become more rich. To them, authority is something to be grasped, but Jesus didn't see it as something to be grasped. One of the reasons is that that's who Jesus was and is. He was and is the eternal Son of God. He didn't need to grasp at authority. He didn't need to try and climb any ladders. He was the highest being in the universe. Yet Paul says Jesus chose to empty himself, to humble himself, to drain himself of all of his eternal glory, becoming obedient even to death on a cross, the ultimate act of humility. The death on the cross was a horrible, hideous, terrible thing to go through. Jesus was humiliated, he was ridiculed, he was tortured, he was beaten, he was whipped, he was spat upon, he was mocked. His closest friends turned away from him. He died naked, hanging on the cross. What humility to choose to do that. Jesus didn't have to go through with it. In fact, Jesus said, if I were simply to call on my Father, he would put at my disposal more than 12 legions of angels to protect me if I needed it. But I don't need it. I'm going to go through with this. And because of that, he submitted himself to death on the cross. Why? Because he knew that that's what God's will was for him. He knew that that was the only way to save humanity. He did it through love and through obedience. And Paul goes on to say, because of this, God gave him a name above all names in the universe. At the name of Jesus, every knee will bow and every tongue will confess that he is Lord and God. And I believe if we meditate on Jesus' ultimate act of humility from the very top to the very bottom of the universe, it'll stir up worship in our hearts. So spend some time today thinking about that. Spend time thinking about Jesus' incredible humility, and think about areas in your own lives where you can reflect and mirror and emanate that humility of Jesus.